When I turn over, he's standing there, and he got a knife in his hand. And he said, man, they want me to kill you.
Patrick Seymour knew it was only a matter of time before the gang decided to take him out. After all, he'd been a part of that culture since he was 12 years old. However, that wasn't how he was raised. The only son of a single mother, Patrick spent his early years in Mississippi, attending the church his great-grandfather founded and helped build.
I view God as a God who has standards. It put me at odds with him because you have these expectations for my life, but it didn't speak to my hurt.
That hurt stemmed from the absence of Patrick's father.
In my mind, it was, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for my father to be here. I'm not good enough to be a Christian. I'm just not good enough. Only thing I knew was that I was born in LA.
So when Patrick was 10 and his mom moved them from Mississippi back to LA, he was hopeful.
Now I get to go and actually figure out who I am. So I looked for a place where I could be good enough.
For Patrick, the answer seemed to be the infamous gang, the Crips.
People fear them, people respect them, but they also give them their space. And I'm like, that's what I want. Figured out what gang members look for in potential gang members. And I just began to practice that. In order for me to gain this community and camaraderie that I'm looking for, this is what I have to do.
Soon, Patrick developed a tough gangbanger exterior with a reputation for fighting.
My older homies knew me for that, and they equated that as to not having any fear.
At 16, a larceny spree led to his first arrest. Since he was affiliated with a gang and carrying a gun, Patrick was tried as an adult and sentenced to 20 years in prison.
I was scared out of my mind. This is serious. I can't just continue to be this great imposter. I'm gonna have to really start living this life now.
Patrick was transferred to California State Prison. Then, 7 years into his sentence, he was moved to a state prison in Arizona and sent to a drug program for inmates. Patrick had no desire to be there.
I'm still doing drugs, selling drugs, making knives. So I'm doing everything that's against this program. I end up going to the hole. I'm getting kicked out of the program.
However, the staff there saw something in him and wanted him back. Alone in solitary confinement, Patrick decided to challenge God.
God, if you want me back in the program, you get me back in the program. I was saying, hey, if you're real, then do this.
2 weeks later, the program staff invited him back.
I hear this voice say, remember what you told me. And I'm like, no, this can't be God. And before then, I just saw God as being a God in the sky. I didn't see him as being personal. Something is going on. I don't know what's going on. I said, I think I need to go to church now.
Patrick started attending chapel the next week.
The pastor gives this great sermon on David. God is saying, hey, I know you've done these things, but I've forgiven you. I've already paid the cost for that. You're forgiven. You don't have to be that guy anymore. God was literally like, son, you are accepted. What you need and what you've ran to get is only in me that you're gonna find that. So let's leave that, and then I'm gonna show you who you're gonna become. I felt convicted, and in the same sense, I felt the weight being lifted. So I'm like, God, I'm sorry. I went this far with being this person with this life. That was that freedom of like, oh, okay, I got the answer now. And I'm accepting the answer now.
Patrick told his cellmate he was quitting the gang to live for Jesus. Word spread quickly, and Patrick was in his bunk sleeping one night when he felt his cellmate standing over him.
Tears coming down his face, and he got a knife in his hand. And he said, man, they want me to kill you. In my mind, I'm already hearing God say, son, take no thought of your life. And so I tell him, I said, listen, you do what you have to do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pray for you, because whatever decision you make, my end is already determined, and it's a good end. I'm confident in that now. However, your end is still being determined. So I'm gonna pray for you, man. And I'm gonna go back to sleep. And that's what I did.
His cellmate asked for a transfer the next morning. Patrick witnessed to many of his friends and met his future wife before being released from prison in 2017. Today, he's a respected pastor, entrepreneur, and a loving husband and father. Patrick says God has given him identity in a way gang life never could.
Even when people was giving me praises and accolades, I didn't believe that I was significant. And I've always been significant to my father, if to no one else. And to me, the evidence that he showed me is, son, there's only one you, and you're wonderfully and fearfully made. So greatness is in you. It's literally woven into your DNA. God was an answer the whole time.